Hello everyone, this is Dr. Achal and I welcome you again in our subject module titled as Service Marketing. Now in previous discourse we have dealt with a topic of relationship marketing, how it is being important enough for every organization, especially in case of the services arena. It is very imperative to know and build up on a good relationship with the customers, and not only with the customers, it was also being thought of that and it was being realized by each and every marketer to build up on a greater trust and loyalty amongst the people who are working in the establishment, and that was in a concept which was being discussed under the heading of internal marketing. Now coming to the relationship marketing, moving on with the slide. Now this slide says that Levitt opined that the sales transaction should be regarded as a start rather than an end of relationship, and it is being shown in the table. Even now many firms' reaction to the sale is the exact opposite to the customer. Now it is being here we are trying to compare, in this slide we are trying to compare the objectives and the reactions of the party. That is, for an effective transaction we are supposed to have two of the parties and they are in the form of the buyer or the customer, and then we are having a vendor or the producer or the manufacturer. So Levitt has Levitt has opined that the sales transaction, they are in the earlier course of action they was being tugged off as a starting point, but in our yesteryears we were if we are talking of regarding the philosophy of sales orientation, it was being thought that we only have to maximize out the sales volume, and if the product is good enough, that will automatically result in the sales volume. But that olden concept, the concept that was being prevailing in the olden days, that is not very much being relevant enough, keeping into account the today's competitive scenario. So we have to just go beyond that, and that is what is being talked of as building up an assurance, building up an association, having a good ties with your customer, so that they will be developing a loyalty, and that will be reflected in the purchase process for the years to come. Now this is in a table that is giving you a fact of making it a comparison between the seller and the buyer reaction. So the sale is first time being made to them. Now what are the reactions, what are the response which the seller as an organization or a producer is trying to dispose of in the market area, and similarly what is a reaction and a response that is being thrown by the buyer at the same point of time. So the very first stimuli, that is the first criteria, that is a objective that is to be achieved on the part of the seller. Here the objective may be with regard to sales volume, maximization of the sales volume. The objective may be in the form of the customers, satisfying out the needs and the wants of the customers, getting out themselves to be talked of in a unique and a distinct kind of way. And regarding the buyer, the objective is when the first time the sales is made for the first time, the objective is judgment postponed and applies test of time, test of time. So it means that here the objective of the buyer may be regarding the it may so happen that if they have moved in for the purchase process, they are not very much being satiated after the consumption of the services, and it may so happen that they are curtailing out or they are deferring out their postponement of, or they are postponing out their purchase process in the next discourse, and that will equally being hold good in case of the the time duration is playing a very important role, wherein they will be evaluating out certain alternative brands, and then they will be making out the decision to go in for a particular brand. Now regarding the seller, the selling stops when the sale is being made for the first time. Here the selling process on the part of the seller, it was being seen that the seller tries to make, or their efforts are being curtailed there enough when the transaction is being happening for the first time. And on the part of the buyer continues to get into the purchase decision if he or she is being satiated enough with the purchase process. Now the third point, that is the focus goes elsewhere. On the part of the seller, when the first time transaction is being made, the seller focuses, they are just trying to make out their focus, or they are trying to concentrate on the other relevant areas, maybe on the towards improvement of their product, maybe on the terms of expanding out the customer footfalls, maybe in terms of outbeating out the customers. Anywhere their concentration may go away. And on the part of the buyer, we are saying that the focus is on the purchase, wants affirmation that the expectations have been met. Now, keeping into consideration the buyer's perspective, we are seeing that the buyers here, they are trying to focus on the purchase decision process. Definitely, all their effort as in a buyer, as in a customer and a consumer, we are trying to make out our concentration. We are trying to focus out our concentration towards making out an effective purchase decision. And we as a customer, we want an affirmation that expectations has to be met. I mean, we as a customer, we want to have that assurance, that affirmations from the seller to be in consonance with meeting out their expectations. So, if the value of the product is automatically, it is more, and the performance of the product is more as compared to the expectations which the customers are holding on their mind, definitely they will be leading to have a delightment factor in due course of time. Now, the next comparison factor and the parameter is here, the tension is being released when the sales transaction is affected on the part of the seller or the producer. Their tension and their frustration, I mean their dissonance or their kind of certain kind of unease will be released if they have affected out the transaction very effectively. Keeping into perspective the buyers or the customers, we are seeing that here the tension is increased. Why the tension is increased? Because if the purchase process, they have affected him for the purchase process, they have consumed out the product. Definitely, it may so happen that being talked of as a customer, they are moving in for the purchase process, but they are not the end buyers, they are not the end users. In case of the services, we are experiencing that in the arena of the services, it is very much being expected that the consumers will be the end buyers. I mean, the customers will be the end buyers. So here the tension, it is in the form of either functional risk may increase, either the psychological risk may also increase. So tension may occur in any of the form regarding the quantum and the magnitude of the risk which the customers may go in for after the purchase and the consumption of a particular set of baskets of utilities. So here the tension is being increased on the part of the customer or the buyer, because it may so happen that they have expected the utility of the product as somewhat very much being unique enough or distinct enough as compared to the competitor's offering, but after the purchase and the consumption, they have not been experienced the delightment or the satiation that they have expected from the purchase process. So here the functionality or the functional risk is getting increased, and because of that factor, tension or the cognitive dissonance will also increase. In case of the marketing discipline, we are using out this particular tension. The word tension is being replaced with the help of the dissonance factor, and we are using out the terminology as in a cognitive dissonance. So tension in the form of the functional risk, tension with regard to the psychological risk. Now it may so happen that as in a customer, we have moved in for the purchase process only for the purpose of enhancement of a status symbol, only for the purpose of getting ourselves being talked of as in a somewhat a people or a person having a unique identity in the society. So for the purpose of social enhancement, if you are moving for the purchase process and really you are not in a need of that particular commodity or the offerings, then definitely if after the purchase and the consumption of those offerings, you are not being able enough to enhance your status or the social symbol, I mean the social acceptance is not very much being prominent enough as you have thought in for before. So that will also result into the incurrence of the psychological risk. So there can be two kind of situations wherein after the purchase and the consumption, the tension is increased on the part of the buyers or the customers. Especially in case of the services arena, we have said that the credence qualities, that is the qualities which are very much being abstract in nature, the qualities which are very much being abstract in the sense that even if after the purchase and the consumption of the offering is being made, the customers are not being able enough to realize their attributes. Like if you as a patient, you have visited to a doctor to get rid of yourself from some kind of disease, if you are not being able and comfortable enough, then you may visit out to a particular doctor. Now the prescription that is being or the diagnosis that is being made by a doctor, a specified doctor, you yourself as a patient, you are not being able enough to recognize the efficacy and the effectiveness with which the doctor has given you the treatment. So that particular kind of aspect is missing, wherein even if after purchase and the consumption of the things, you are not being able enough to justify out with you are not being able enough to evaluate the quality and the efficacy of the offerings that is being provided by the service provider. So, in case of the pure services, the credence quality is very much being difficult enough to evaluate. So, here we are seeing that even if the transaction is happening, it has happened for the very first time, the tension may get increased on the part of the customers and the buyers. Now, the next point is relationship reduced or ended. From the seller's perspective, in the olden days, we were seeing that in the yesteryears, the sales orientation philosophy was very much being prominent enough, or even if after the sales orientation, we were talking of and we have shifted out our discussion towards marketing orientation philosophy. Thereafter, we have made more pronouncement and we have made more emphasis towards customers orientation philosophy. Now, even if talking of with regard to the very important philosophy of the sales orientation, wherein we have reduced and we have assumed that if a product is good enough, that will result in the maximization of the sales volume. So, when the transaction is affected on the part of the sellers and the producers, the relationship is they may think of that here the relationship will tend to reduce, or they may be not being able enough to just carry it long for a longer period of time. So, that kind of situation may be felt on the part of the seller or the producer. Moving on the perspective of the buyer, we can say that here the commitment is being made, the relationship is being intensified on the part of the buyer. Especially in case of the services arena, we are experiencing that the buyers and the customers, they are trying to have an assurance from such a diligent service provider who are giving them a good ease, who are giving them in a good comfort zone, who are offering out their services in a very customized kind of way, that is very much being personalized, and trying to give them in a more delightment as they are being expected from the offerings. So, the commitment is being made on the part of the buyers, and they are expecting that this particular kind of loyalty and this particular kind of service and the reassurance will be seen on the part of the seller. So, the relationship is being intensified, but however, as we have said in our previous discourse, that the relationship or the the assurance, the loyalty, the trust, the association, the affinity, all these attributes or all these phenomena, all these feelings will only be generated, or it will only be evolved on the part of both the parties. That is, for the effective transaction, we know that there should be a presence of the parties in the form of the buyer and the seller. Similarly, in order to have that particular kind of transformation, in order to have that particular kind of generation of the relationship or the association, both it may be from the personal point of view, it may be from the professional point of view, but especially in case of the organization, we are more being concentrating enough towards building up on a professional relationship that is very much being prominent enough to see and to witness you for a longer period of time. So, the commitment is made on the part of both the buyers and the sellers. This should be made. Here we are emphasizing more on the part of the buyer, because the buyer is being direct, they are very much being in direct touch with the service provider. Now, moving on to the next slide. Now, this says that in fact, even today many firms, they still practice transactional marketing rather than relationship marketing. Param Raja provides summary of the key differences in two of the approaches. Now, if we shift our discussion towards this slide, we are very much being sure enough that in today's world, it says that even today many of the firms, they still practice transactional marketing rather than relationship marketing. That is, in this competitive scenario, even now we are experiencing that still the things are being changed, still the phenomena are being changed, the atmosphere, the environment, the perception, the perspective, the psychological attributes on both the parties, that is the buyer, the sellers, they are hugely transforming. And the micro variables, the macro variables, they are playing a very profound role towards influencing the purchase pattern and the way the parties are getting transacted and the way they are getting involved in the transaction process. They are duly being changed enough as compared to the yesteryears. But even today we are realizing on the fact that still most of the firms, they are not realizing and they are not gaining an attachment towards the importance that is being seen when we are pursuing at the relationship marketing. So, that is still that is still there is a more need to focus upon this aspect, that is the relationship, building up the relationship marketing. Now, this is in a table which shows you the key differences between, or the contrasting differences between two of the aspects, that is transactional marketing and relationship marketing. Now, the transactional marketing, as the name is suggesting you the fact that here we are being concerned towards the aspect that is basically being prevailing in the yesteryears. In the olden days, we were only being concerned towards making out an effective transaction for the purpose of maximizing of the sales volume, and the relationship has been defined as one of the important ingredient in the component of the holistic marketing concept. This is a concept which we can say just yes, this is a very important component of the modern approach of the marketing, that is the relationship marketing, and rest of the others are integrated marketing, performance marketing, and internal marketing. And internal marketing, we have discussed out this concept of the internal marketing. So, we will be making out a comparative difference between the transactional and the relationship marketing. Now, in case of the transactional marketing, the first point of difference is, or the first point of criteria wherein we are seeing that to do the deal and disappear, whereas in the relationship marketing we are concentrating on the fact that negotiate a win-win sales situation and stay around, being a resources for better results. Now, the transactional marketing says out the fact to do the deal and disappear. It means that we are concentrating on the effective transaction, even if for the first time, for the second time, we are only being concerned towards making out the effective transaction. And then disappearance means we are not very much being concerned enough towards having that trust and the loyalty which the customers may go in for seeking towards your brand, towards your offering. That is not being concentrated enough in the transactional marketing. On the contrary to it, as the relationship, as the word relationship here refers to the fact that here we are concentrating, we are saying that negotiation is being done, a win-win sales situation is being done, and staying around, being a resources for better results. Negotiation is being carried on the part of both the parties, that is buyer at certain point of time, except in case of the branded goods, the buyers and the customers, they go in for the negotiation process to make out an effective purchase decision. They are just trying to have that that particular thing, that is to lower down the quality, to lower down the prices of the commodities. The negotiation is being done. Similarly, on the part of the seller or the producer, they are also trying to negotiate, negotiation in the sense that they are trying to negotiate on the part of giving them a qualitative products at the reasonable price. So, this kind of perspective, this particular kind of phenomena is being seen on the part of the producer, on the part of the manufacturer, wherein they are trying to negotiate that yes, we are giving you the best quality, we are giving you the best offering at the reasonable prices. That is purely in the competitive scenario. So, negotiation, win-win sales situation on the part of both the parties, and then staying around or being a resources for the better results. Staying around means here we are just trying to build up that commitment of the relationship to be there with you for a longer period of time, because earlier also we have discussed about the fact that the business entity, it has a very important it has a very important feature of the perpetual cessation. So, that says out the fact that even if we are not, we as an owner, we are not there in the society, we will not there in the world, will not be living there in the world because of the contingent event or because of the natural death, even then the existence of our entity will continue to be there for the longer period of time. So, this is in a fact wherein we are saying that our existence as an owner, it is being separate as compared to the identity and the existence of our entity or the organization. The next one is in the case of transactional marketing, we are seeing that a distinction point, that is a push price strategy is being used. On the contrary to it, we are focusing on the promotion of the values. Now, the transactional marketing, the push pricing strategy, it may so happen that we are being concerned with the lower qualitative products, the prices, the products are being offered which are of lower quality. Quality is up to the mark, but the prices, in terms of the prices, they are being lower, they are being priced at a lower way. So, they are, if we want to push up the sales of the lower priced product, then with the association of a high priced product or a high priced offering. So, this is a strategy which gives you the fact of the pushing pricing strategy. So intentionally, if you are trying to tie up the sales of a lowered price product or the offering with a highly priced product, then this is a strategy that is being called as a push pricing strategy. We are just trying to push up the sales of the lower price product within a highly established prices of the product. In case of the relationship marketing, we are promoting out the value. We know that value is being defined as all the utilities or all the benefits that you as a buyer you are trying to get with the sacrifice of the prices in terms of the cost. So I mean, you are foregoing out your monetary value. You are sacrificing out your monetary. I mean, what to say? The prices is being paid by you for the purpose of gaining out that utility which you are expecting from the offering. So promoting out the value, it means you as a marketer, in case of the relationship marketing, you are trying to give them a best utility at a reasonable prices. So in this way, you are trying to promote out the enhancement of your offering. The next one is short term thinking and acting in the transactional marketing, that is more being related in the olden days, that is in a conventional approach to talk of. So here the short term thinking and acting, the strategies and the philosophies, they are only being made for a short period of time, and if the strategy is being made, definitely its implementation is also being talked of in the same course. However, in the case of the relationship, we are thinking of and we are being experiencing that long term thinking and acting is being talked of. We as a marketer, we are more being concerned towards building up a long term kind of loyalty. We are very much being concerned towards making out a repetitive purchase decision, having out that particular loyalty and association amongst the customers, amongst the buyers, and then acting it accordingly. Next is building up the business, build the business on deals. We are dealing up the business on the deals. The terms and the conditions are being stated in the case of the transactional marketing, and according to the terms and the conditions, the specifications, we are building up the dealing process. We are going in for the deal process. Contrary to it, in the case of relationship, we are experiencing that the building the business on relationship. We are trying to craft out, we are trying to step up, we are trying to add on a ladder, keeping into consideration the association and the assurance which we as a marketer, which we as a producer trying to give out to the customer. The next one is getting new customers, relationship marketing, transactional marketing. It says that getting on new customers, it may so happen that the conventional approach of the transactional marketing, they are also emphasizing on the fact of gaining out the new customers. Basically, they are trying to concentrate towards attracting the new customers. Their promotional appeal, their crafting of the 7 P's, and they are being crafted in the sense of attraction of the new customers. But on the contrary to it, in the case of the relationship, we are experiencing that keeping all customers and clients. The relationship itself, it speaks of the fact that we are trying to assure them, we are trying to build up an association amongst the customers so as to keep their loyalty, so as to give them a greater appeal, so as to create a binding relationship with them for the years to come. So keeping all the customers and the clients is an important focused area in the case of relationship. So that, because earlier also we have discussed about the fact that the ordering and the switching cost is more pronounced in case of the if you are just trying to switch over our clients, if we are just trying to explore the new clients, so that we are trying to make out our investments or the expenditures is being done on the promotional appeal to attract new and newer customers always, and we are not trying to focus out our attention towards retaining the old customers, that will in turn lead towards an occurrence of the ordering cost and the switching cost. So that is not beneficial enough from the customer's point of view. Definitely that is more being deleterious from the organization point of view. So here we have to keep all the customers and the clients intact by giving them assurance, by building them a loyalty factor, by giving them an association, a good ties to be developed upon. The next is no structure for ongoing business. In case of the conventional approach, we have witnessed that there is no structure, there is no layout for getting out or for making out an effective transaction. No structure for going on business. It means if the business is existing, if the business is continuing and very smoothly, very diligently, then no well defined procedural plans or the structure, the layout is being seen in case of the conventional approach. On the contrary date, in the relationship marketing, we are experiencing that the structure created to support relationship is special clubs and memberships for frequent users and for buyers. Relationship can be crafted, it can be developed by giving them some extras, some add-ons, some premiums to the loyal customers, to the customers and the consumers who are very much worthy enough, who are giving you and who are very much being frequently moving for the purchase of your offerings, who are developing that loyalty, who are in good ties with you. So, the special clubs may be formed. There can be situation in which you are giving them and you are treating them as a member of your organization. A certain specific society and a certain specific club is being formed for those loyal customers. They are being talked of as premium customers, and that is primarily being seen in case of the e-platforms. Like we can take an example like the Flipkart and the Amazon, they are treating out their frequent purchasers as a premium customers, as a premium plus customers. So, and their account is being created in that particular sense, and because they are premium plus customers or they are premium customers, then in that particular instance their delivery process of the offerings that they are trying to go upon, that they are trying to move upon, that will be delivered in a very fast and the prompt delivery is being made to them. And similarly, in case of any of the grievance, definitely all the customers, all the consumers, they are equal for the organization, but the grievance redressal mechanism is very prompt. They are giving up within a good credit facilities in the terms of the cash on delivery, or this kind of thing can be given even if for the purchase of a costly item for these premium customers. Now, moving on with the next contrasting features, there are other parameters wherein in the case of the transactional marketing, we are seeing that the selling is more we are trying to focus more on the sales process. Contrary to it, in the relationship, we are focusing on the results. What is an effort that we have made, and because of that effort, what is the result that we have achieved? So, effort and the result is their evaluation is being done. The short term empathy, in case of the transactional, the people are empathetic enough, but they are only for the short term when the transaction is happening. After that, no empathy, no responsiveness, no association, we are not being taken care of that. However, in the next relationship marketing, we are experiencing the long term empathy, and the rapport plays a very important role. The empathetic resilience, the perseverance, the responsiveness, the association, the continuation, the continuity, the assurance, all these are the variables which are helping you out to build up a strong ties with your clients and their customers. In case of the transactional, we are saying that the incentive for doing the deal incentives is being given out to the different people holding out the different positions in your establishment. Here, the incentive for long term relationship and the revenue. Incentive is being given for the long term relationship and the revenue factor. Definitely that will result in building up in the revenue, maximizing the sales volume, the revenue and the profit will grow. Eventually, if you are trying to attract and if you are trying to retain out your attractive customers, so the long term relationship will be seen here. In case of transactional, we are seeing that the foundation for telling and selling and the sales maximization basically, and in the case of the next relationship, we are seeing that the foundation on the revenue trust. The profit generation is being seen, it is being talked of as a parameter towards measuring out our efficiency and the efficacy, and the trust, the revenue trust, that is the trust and the loyalty which is being talked of as an important parameter, important criteria to judge out the effectiveness of a transaction in case of the relationship. There is for the sales result in case of the transactional, we are only focusing our attention towards maximization of the sales. So, we are seeing that the sales for the sales result, the race for the sales result. In case of the relationship, we are focusing on the swift, strong, safe and enduring in results through the relationship. Association, assurance, ties, good ties with the help of the swift, strong, safe and enduring strategy. It should be prompt, it should be agile, it should be versatile, it should be consistent, it should be uniform, but then safety, enduring relationship is being talked of in case of the relationship marketing. The concept of conventional approach, it focuses on the after sales support and services, poor seen as cost. After sales supports and services, poor seen as a cost. It means when the transaction has happened, the after sales services, they are not trying to focus upon the after sales services, and that is primarily being treated as a cost element for them. in the yesteryears. But nowadays we are focusing that the after sales support and service seen as an investment in the relationship. Definitely it is not only that is the holistic marketing concept or the modern marketing concept. It only says out the fact that we as a marketer, we don't have to just focus out our attention towards maximization of the sales or then when the transaction is affected, it is not so that you have ended up the process or you are not being able enough to continue it revolving in this competitive scenario. So after sales services, a very important factor to be taken care of by the marketer, especially in case of the physical marketer, the marketer who are producing of the physical commodities. In the case of the services arena also, the after sales support means we as a producer, we as a provider, we are trying to help out the clients and the customers if they are facing any kind of difficulty 24/7 hours, and that after sales services to be seen as an investment, not as a cost or an expenditure or as an outlay, because this is a fact with which you will be trying to make out a distinction, you will be trying to make out a unique creation in this competitive scenario, that you are trying to give them a somewhat different as compared to the competitors, or you are trying to give them some augmented offerings. Augmentation is being done as compared to the competitors' strategy. So that is to be seen as an investment, not as a cost or as an outlay in the relationship, and that is primarily it is being focused in the relationship marketing. Now the conventional approach of the transactional area, here we are trying to concentrate on the product service focused. On the contrary, the people expectations and the perceptions are being focused. That is, we are trying to customize, we are trying to modify the product according to needs and the wants of the customers in the case of the transactional arena. But in modern days, in the modern arena, we are expecting that here, firstly we have to identify, we have to explore the needs and the wants and the expectations of the people, of the customer, and then modification will be done. So product, in the case of yesteryears, we have made out the product, and then services was being focused. I mean, the customers were being adapted enough to go in for the consumption of a specific product. The product themselves, they were being produced at the very first point of time. But here in case of the relationship, we are trying to explore and identify the needs and expectations and the psychological temperaments of the people or the customers, and then the production and the manufacturing process is happening according to their perception and their expectations. So this is also one of the slide that is giving you the fact of comparison. That is, in the transactional marketing, the rewards is an incentive for doing deals is being given. In case of relationship, the reward incentive for maintaining and growing out the relationship and revenue. Reward a relationship to the employees who are trying to maintain a good credibility for the customers, amongst the customers with regard to their offerings. In case of transactional, the deal is the end, pursuit of the deal. The deal, when the deal is end means when the transaction has happened, then and there it comes, your transaction comes to a termination point, and then the deal comes to an end. We as a marketer, we are not trying to just have that continuity, to have that assurance, to have that particular kind of resilience with the same customers for now, so as to move them for the next purchase in the next discourse. However, in the modern era, we are seeing that the sales just the beginning, pursuit of the long term relationship and the result. The sales volume and then the sales process, this is just in the beginning of the modern marketing concept, and after that we have to just take into consideration that the after sales services, the investment in terms of giving them some add-ons, the investment in terms of giving them some some premiums, some discounts, some coupons to be generated, to be given or to be given certain kind of association, to be being talked of as in a certain, giving them certain kind of distinct orientation, which is very much being distinct enough, and that will be creating as a strategy to outsmart the competitors. By adopting and by going in for this kind of way and approach, you will be developing and you will be creating a good relationship and association and the trust and the loyalty with your customers. Now this slide says that the companies with transactional marketing approach, they constantly search for the new customers because they fail to satisfy existing customers rather than retaining the existing customers base by demonstrating an unequivocal commitment to the total quality customer care. I am repeating this statement. Companies with transactional marketing approach, they constantly search for the new customers because they fail to satisfy the existing customers rather than retaining the existing customer base by demonstrating the unequivocal commitment to the total quality customer care. Transactional marketing leads quickly to corporate decline. Transactional marketing leads quickly to corporate decline. Your most expensive is the new customer. You have probably had to advertise to get him or her. You have no relationship as yet. Getting an order from a new customer can be 5 to 6 times more costly than getting one from the previous one. Definitely, we have reiterated on the same fact, and here also it is being written that attracting on a new customer, it costs a lot. It is a costly affair. Investment to be seen more in terms of making an effective promotional appeal, attracting them, demonstrating them, but retaining out the old customers and trying to seek out their order frequently, it is less costly as compared to the attraction of the new customers. So here the modern concept of the marketing, the holistic marketing concept, here itself it speaks of the fact that it is being composed of 4 of the components, that is internal marketing, integrated, and the performance, and the relationship marketing. So relationship marketing being thought of as one of the important component of the holistic marketing concept. It says out the fact that we have to retain out our older customers. That will prove to be an economical affair for us, and that will be an approach towards building out our name and fame, our goodwill in the years to come. So this is all about the concept of relationship marketing, having a comparison between the transactional marketing and the modern approach of the relationship. And I hope so that you people have understood the difference between what are the strategies in the olden days that we were pursuing as a marketer, and that was in the concept of the transactional marketing, focusing more only on the transactions to be taken care of or to be more frequent enough. But however, in case of the modern approach, the holistic marketing approach, we are focusing on building up an assurance and a good relationship with the customers. That will be helping us to build in a goodwill and a good fame of the offerings and the brands. So till then, stay safe and stay blessed. Thank you all for joining, and thank you all for with me. Thank you.